everybody. Let me show you what is going on today. Rain, and lots of it. You guys see that little blue dot? That's us. All that green and yellow stuff, that's the rain, and we're just on the edge of it. So, we're gonna keep our eyes on the road today. A little bit of what's going on. I just got off the phone with Valley Truck Service at Black Mountain, North Carolina. Best truck shop around that I have found for my needs. Doesn't mean that it's the best shop out of everybody, but yeah, it's the best shop out of everybody. We'll just go ahead and say that. You get what you pay for with them. So if you're in Asheville, North Carolina, and you're in need of heavy truck repair, I think they do a little bit of machinery repair as well, diesel. Definitely give them a call. They are my one-stop shop. And today's shop was, we're getting 4 new Hercules tires for the trailer. I had to plug one of my tires yesterday and they're getting pretty well wore out. So we got 4 of those on order. How much? I have no idea. They've always done me good on prices, so I don't even ask. With this rain, this time of year in my area, when it rains, it stops working. Then, when the rain clears out, most of the time, there's a cold front behind it. So, wet, cool, it doesn't dry out very fast. And this is one reason that I encourage anybody that's going into this business to get different attachments and get yourself set up to where you're a little bit diversified. Even on a rainy day, you can deliver washed stone, gravel, number 57s, whatever it's called in your area, you can still deliver. Wintertime is a tough time for excavation and grading. Just about anywhere, unless you're in South Florida, of course. And even then, you know, it's probably affected a little bit down there, I guess. I don't know. If you're in Florida, drop it in the comments, let us know. I've actually been chatting with one of my viewers. His name is James, and he also just bought his first excavator and his first little dump truck. Both of them new pieces of equipment. I'm excited for him. He's starting business up, and he's starting right out of the gate with brand new equipment, and he's not going to have to worry about that downtime that everybody worries about with maintenance. He's gonna have some payments to make, but he is diversified. He's got an excavator that he can dig with, he's got a dump truck he can do deliveries, but he also bought a Brushmaster mower, just like the one I got. I don't know what size he got, I probably need to ask him, but he's diversified. And like today, we're on our way to finish up this mulching job on this old logging road. And even though it's raining, if I need to, after I get done mulching, if I do rut the road up a little bit, I can grab a log, which there's a couple up there. Fortunately, I don't have my I-beam with me, and I can just roll it down this road because there's a bunch of leaves on it, and if I just rake it with the log, it's going to pull those leaves off, and it's going to cause it to potentially start eroding. That's no good. So I would just roll the log, and if I have to a little bit, roll it, mash it down, roll it, mash it down, just to keep the erosion under control. I've got 2 subdivision mowing jobs coming up quite soon, and they're both pretty big, and I'm kind of on the fence about renting a Brushmaster. Since I've ordered one, I don't really need to try one out, and now that we've really gotten this Fecon head kind of figured out and dialed in, I might just use that. I'm not sure, but it can rain all at once because I'm going to be sitting on pavement, and it actually helps me if the pavement's wet with traveling along, going through the turns. I can twist my tracks, and it just kind of slides along the pavement as opposed to really grinding on those tracks. Diversify yourself. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say. When you're in business for yourself and you've got one niche, as they say, some of us say niche, you've got one thing you do. Say you just do footers and you absolutely refuse to do anything else. If the housing market goes under, there's a good chance you are too. The only niche I can see that is foolproof is digging graves, because we're all going to die sometime. A bit morbid, but true. So diversify yourself. Don't just lock down into one thing. You need to have a couple of different things going on, and it's good if you can have a couple of different things that one relies on wet weather and one relies on dry weather when it comes to excavation and grading or land clearing. When it's wet, that's a blessing to me, because stuff grows. Grass, leaves, brush, and trees, they grow, they multiply. It's never ending. Even if the human race disappeared, everything else would grow. So I don't even know why that's the point. Why did I say that? I really don't know. Anyway, everything is going to grow, and when it rains a lot, it's going to grow faster. So that's kind of like money in the bank when it comes to what I'm doing. I may be slow right now if it's raining, and even if it's too wet for me to be able to do my mowing jobs, it's growing at that time, and it's growing rapidly. So later on, you know, say we go through 2 months of solid rain, we can't get nothing done. Guess what's going to happen at the end of that 2 months? Things are going to start drying up. People are going to want to get outside. Their properties are overgrown. Who are they going to call? Me. And we are going to capitalize. Now when it's dry, we can dig, we can grade, we can do totally different things. I don't like pulling the machine off of one job to go do another, but if I'm on a grading job and they're calling for a week and a half, 2 weeks of solid rain, I'm just going to have to do what I got to do, pull the machine off the job, explain to the customer, I will come back. Most of the time I'll leave something on that job site, that way they see my presence, you know, and then I'll pull off and go do some mowing. But that just rarely doesn't happen, especially the past couple of years. We're able to get on jobs, stay on there. But diversify yourself. Don't lock down to one thing. And you've got to think about this stuff going into this. If you live in a climate where it's wet all the time and you don't want to fight with it because what you're necessarily wanting to do is not good with wet weather, then think of something else. You know, think of something you'd like to do and you'll enjoy doing, but at some point you've got to say, you know, this is either realistic or it's not realistic. I've been having a lot of new subscribers coming in here lately. We've had record views, we've had record number of subscribers coming in, and I'm getting a lot of the same questions, and those questions need to be answered no matter how many times. So for you guys who have subscribed and have been with me for a while, thanks for the patience. Thanks for not unsubscribing if you see kind of repeat conversations. But, you know, I want to help as many people as I can. And one of the biggest questions here lately is insurance. What kind of insurance do I carry? The biggest one is a $1 million general liability coverage. That's just kind of the baseline that everybody gets. It's not that expensive. I don't want to say exactly how much because I don't know. It's in the low, you know, thousands. That's a big one. And if you're starting out and you're renting equipment, a lot of rental companies, like bigger ones like Sunbelt and United, they can include rental protection on each piece of equipment. But if you're going to be doing it a lot, check in to getting your own rental coverage. You don't have to take their coverage. You can pay, I think I was paying like $1,200 a year for $250,000 coverage. That means I could rent any machine valued up to $250,000, and you can get some pretty big machines in that price. Second question is, what machinery should I start out with? That completely depends on what you're going to be doing. That's the biggest one. You know, skill level, that's a little bit of a factor, but for the most part, any mid-size machine, and by mid-size I say like 12 to 20,000 pounds, is a good starting range because they're fairly affordable and they're not so big that you're going to swing around and tear a 10-story building down with one whack. So that's a positive. Well, this is going to be a fun hike in. Yep, there you go, welcome. Hey, I like to think of myself as a positive, optimistic person, but I really hope I don't have to poop out here today. Oh man, of course I'd forget my coffee in the truck. Why wouldn't I forget my coffee in the truck? I'll be back. All I say, if you see me running, you better run too. But today, will be a false alarm. Alright, get ourselves together. Oh, look at the spiders in here. Die, fool. And I killed one up there before I got back out. There's another one. I don't know how they're getting in here. Oh boy. So that's how this day's gonna go. Alright. Who's the boss? Who's the boss? I'm the boss. Let's get started. I can't see shit. Y'all probably can't either. Let me trade him chats. There now. Let's see what we can make happen. Soaked my poor little hat. Was it worth it? Oh yeah. That's defrosting. Fairly good. Let's see if we turn the AC on if it'll defrost a little quicker. Alright. Alright. Just have to do the best we can with what we got, huh? Alright, excavator. I'm gonna turn sideways so hopefully I don't track this road up too bad. It feels pretty solid right there. There's a couple of soft spots in here though. You betcha. I'm gonna crack these windows. Let some of this moisture out. Hello! Hopefully this will defrog and you guys can see what's going on. It's going to be more of the same. Let me just... There, that beeping was too loud. We'll get defrosted pretty soon. I just got to remember to stay out of y'all's way and hit the wiper. It's not a fancy machine, so the wiper's either on or off. No in between. Ain't nothing nice about it. Let's see here. We're just going to go up and just work both sides all the way down. After I get this thing chewed up. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see. I'm just going to probably do about 30 minutes of mulching. I know it's probably not going to be the best quality of video. Turn loose. Let me get this tree out of the way and we'll cut the camera back on once I'm actually doing something fun. We've gotten our windshield finally defrogged. Now I've got my seat reclined back so you guys can see how I'm working my controls. And I guess today the best thing is going to be that I just edit out parts where the windshield gets too wet to see anything or fogs up. So forgive me if I'll be in the middle of saying something and it just gets cut out, because what you see is probably more important than anything I can say. And I'm going to try to keep that head in view of the windshield. One big trade-off when you're running higher flow to the auxiliaries is everything else moves slow. So like when I go to charge this up, everything slows down. See what I mean? So as opposed to like just running it. And if you spool that head down really slow, then it takes even more speed away from the boom and the stick. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is stay farther away from the material, which is going to bounce me a little bit more, but benefits you guys. So the higher flow is definitely, let me check here and see where y'all's view is at. Okay, that's about as much as y'all are going to be able to see right there, so let's cut it. See, I like it when something lays like that. A lot of times it'll grab it. But what I'm doing, now like this right here where I'm just dropping the head down and I don't need power, I can hold my thumb switch down. And now if I'm lifting up and I'm needing to cut for some reason, what I'll do is I'll go down here, I'll spool that head up until I hear the engine stop laboring, and then I'll let off that thumb control and just lift up. And it'll still cut just because it's got so much momentum. Next excavator I get will have an intermittent switch for the windshield wiper control. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that lay there because there's no sense in me trying to chase it all the way across the road here. When I come back down, that head's going to be down this way and I can hook that tip and it'll pull it in and shoot it against the bank, which is a bit more beneficial. So this is definitely running the higher gallons per minute to the auxiliaries. It does cut better, it recovers better, but you can't just lock the thumb switch and everything works smoothly. You almost have to work the thumb switch off and on. If somebody has a solution for this, please put it in the comments because I'd love to hear it. But the fact of the matter is that the excavator can only pump out so much hydraulic flow at a given time, and it has to allocate it to different movements, and it will always prioritize one thing over the other. Unless you have that switch in there, like I do, but then it divides everything up equally and you don't get that power to the head, the maximum power to the head. So you guys can kind of watch how I work my controls, and as you can see, I'm an abrupt operator. You watch Chris Gins or Mike over at Dirt Boss Masonry and Excavating, they use their fingertips on the top of the controls, and I try to do that, but like when I'm having to work my thumb control, it's hard for me to use my fingertips on one and do the thumb on the other. It's just hard for me to break the habits of what I've developed. So I can make myself do it, but it just doesn't feel comfortable yet. I know you guys can't see that on the ground too good. My windshield wiper, I can put a little bit bigger windshield wiper on this guy. So I'm just knocking the tops out on the way up on this side. Now on the other side, on the way down, I'll be able to just cut everything and let it fall over to the shoulder. I'm not as worried about this being like a real time. Now this one, if I spool it up, there's a good chance I may be able to get it to pull it in. We'll find out, won't we? Spool it all the way up. All I gotta do is get it to grab it. And that involves you going down and grabbing it real quick and then swinging at the same time. trust me, if you get a mower for your excavators, it's not going to be something you regret. Especially like a Brushmaster that only costs like $7,500 as opposed to this $22,000. Now I was mowing trees yesterday. Really, one of them was about 12 inches in diameter, and it's softwood, so you're not going to go out and chew up oak trees, which you need to be sending them for pulpwood anyway. You don't need to waste good trees. I thought I had that one, and I chased it right into the middle of the road. This is not where I wanted it. At least this road is fairly firm still today, despite being wet. Yeah, it's definitely worse having to work with thumb control. You look at power through that stuff. It won't do that when I've got that switch wired up. I probably won't be using that much unless it's with the Brushmaster. Now it'll run the Brushmaster good. It's all momentum. When it comes to those rotary cutters, it's all about your momentum. And you guys please comment your experiences, you know. Even if you think I'm wrong about something, you know, I am not above admitting I could be wrong about something. I'm actually pretty good at being wrong, just ask my wife. A lot of stuff. I'm just, mostly when I'm talking, I'm just talking about my experience. That's all it is. My experience and what I've done. Doesn't mean that it's been the best experience at all. See, I got into that a little bit too much. That time for some new teeth. I'll put new teeth on probably this week for those upcoming projects. I think I am just going to use this head on my subdivision mowings, unless I change my mind, which I do quite often. Why don't y'all vote if you want to see this thing doing a bunch of roadside mowing, or if you want to see a 60-inch Brushmaster. I'll be glad to get the Brushmaster because it's more affordable, and for you guys who are starting out, you may not have a lot of savings. That is key. I didn't want to go in super deep in debt when I first started. I assume y'all don't either. I bet I could wire an intermittent windshield wiper switch in this thing. I might look into it. Now when you guys get your machines, some of these have, I think, dual pumps. So you can run stuff more, but you're going to need some horsepower. I think this machine is like 70, I think, horsepower. Excavators don't typically run a whole lot of horsepower for their size. They just really don't need it most of the time. Now this little stuff, you're going to find yourself batting it around a lot with a mulcher. Brandon over at Elite Earthworks. If you don't watch his channel or follow him, you should. He's got a really good channel. It's super fun to watch. Let's see if we can get on this piece. Yep, see, I just kind of make a motion like that and it'll grab stuff that's laying toward you. But Brandon's a great guy, man. I'm telling you, great guy. I always like to shout out for Dirt Boss. He's really killing it, man. He's become a really good creator and personality on here, and he takes the time to tell you what he's doing and how and why. That's a big plus. YouTube's a great place to learn. It's also a great place to learn to do stuff wrong. That's why if I'm not positive or I'm just kind of playing around or experimenting with something, I will tell you. I will tell you that I am just trying something new. And if I think it's wrong, I'm gonna try it. Just to see. And let you guys learn from my debacles. Side to side over every bit of it and get it dressed. That's the goal for this spot today. Trying to keep my big gourd out of y'all's way. Got some tops off to the side out there, but I don't be too worried about it. Mulch these tops on the ground that y'all can't see, and then I'll come back once we get to the taller stuff. Now let's do a little bit of reality for you guys who are looking at buying this $22,000 attachment. Once the stuff's on the ground, it is a pain to get every bit of it mulched up. You see videos of people putting their Fecons online, and you always see it just shooting this perfect plume of chips out. That's just not the case. So I'm going to turn you around here and I'm going to show you what it's really like. I'm also going to try to actually let's adjust this around so y'all aren't looking at this wiping on the wash. There, that should do. Cut this top out. Does slide head down, but with this higher flow, you know, you can. I like doing it like this. It just seems like it does better. Holding my thumb control down constantly right now, and it's still working good. But see, like this log down here, it's going to shave it like a planer. Get that head spooled up where it's cutting really good, and that way it doesn't just push the log as badly. See how it's going to slide? Stuff around once it's on the ground. That's why you can see that it just pulled that log right through and just slung it. So one thing you can try to do is grab it like this. I didn't do it. Sometimes it'll pull that stuff in pretty good. But on days like today where it's wet, this thing will sling mud clots up on your windshield and everything else. So once it's on the ground, guys, no dice. It don't matter if it's a brushman, it don't matter if it's a rotary mower or this. This is definitely better than a rotary mower to pick stuff up on the ground, but see, that's what you end up with. A board planed out on the ground. So these videos you see of people back dragging, it just doesn't work that way. Look at that. You see it shoot that thing out, and that's another reason that it's dangerous. I don't even know where that thing went to or how far. This is your reality of a drum style Fecon head. See, I'm gonna pull this head up. Now if you leave that head at like a 45 like that, it doesn't slow that head down as bad as if you do like this. See that piece sticking out the top? When you get that, just swing to the right and it'll cut it loose. Now, like all these limbs sticking up, you better go ahead and mulch them while they're sticking up. Because once they're on the ground, you may not be able to get a hold of them. That's just the reality of it, folks. You know, no machine is perfect for anything. If it wasn't for you guys watching, I'd be walking up to where I'm almost at the base of these things and reaching up as high as I could and mulching them from top down. I've had customers go in and cut a bunch of these saplings, and it costs them more to me to mulch them that way than if they'd left them standing, because it takes me forever. Now, like with a bunch of little twigs on this little thing, what I will do is pull that drum up and I'll cut them little guys loose. Because what happens is, to mulch it the best, you go from left to right, but those little things sticking up hang on the back side of that drum, and you end up pushing that sapling. So as long as they're elevated off the ground even an inch, this thing will grab them usually. And I'm just wanting to show you guys the real situation here and show you guys how I do it. See how I'm pushing that? I didn't get my little things sticking up cut loose. Now the ones pointing down are helping you because they're holding that tree or sapling or whatever up off the ground. Now as I rotate into this, I'm going to start pushing it. And see, it didn't work, but just go ahead and plane this off. See how nice and dirty it shaves that, but it is so hard. So if you've got a big old grove like this, it's not necessarily a bad thing to drop a whole bunch of them in on top of each other. I wouldn't do too many, you know, where you can't be in control. But to where they're laying crisscross on each other and they're elevated, it will help you. And go ahead and shave them stumps down as far as you can too, because it's a pain when you're tracking along. It's not good on your tracks either. Whichever end sticking up higher, start at that end and mulch. It is so tempting to want to just cut them loose. Also, check this out. I'll push my blade down on a tree that I'm working, and it helps hold everything in place. The more rigid something is, the easier it is to mulch. It takes time to work a tree out. This is not some super lightning fast process. I had 7 hours of working this site yesterday, and you know, I could have come through here just with a bucket and ripped all these saplings out, but they wanted it mulched, so that's what we going to do. Alright, I'm going to cut this guy right up here. And you kind of learn this stuff, you know, learn how to run it, what works best on your machine. And by pressing down on that sapling, now I do not advise ever rotating the head like that. I do not advise it. What I'm going to do is swing my boom. Now the harder you press down on a sapling, the more it'll want to stand up close to you. So you can see I'm just kind of working that sapling back toward me. As far as I can get anyway. Don't want to get that dirt if you can help it. Like I say, it will sling mud all over your windshield. Let's see now. This is an effective tool, but see it pull that through? That thing just went about 50 feet to my right. I'm telling you. So I'm showing you this not to discourage you from buying it, but so you're not disappointed when you buy it. You know, it takes time to work this stuff on the ground. Sometimes it's better just to mulch the small stuff, and if you can, either load out or burn the bigger stuff. Because that small spindly stuff is what you can actually pick up off the ground. I think this is good enough spot. That little bitty stuff, this machine, this head will grab really well. So you can see kind of what's left, just a bunch of mulched ground covering, really. If they wanted to, they can come in here and pick up, mess around with that, or whatever they want to do. Like this big stuff. Get it out of our way here. like this, I say grab it. Cut it off at the bottom, and you're set. Try to get down here. It's getting softer and softer as this rain moves in. Then just grab them low pieces. So if you don't want it to do that, you've got to pretty well grab it up here toward the end. So if you swing just the right speed, it'll pick that up and chew it up, but it's hard to get it to do it. Let's see if we can get it to do it right here. There's the twig. I'm going to get my speed up, and I'm going to drop down and swing to my right. Nope, no dice. Like I said, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Just how it goes. It's not always easy. I was hoping that would grab, but it didn't. Probably just jump out and grab that guy. Go down here to all these little tufts. Watch out, you hate the thing. Now see, this can work to our advantage when it's grabbing them. You can turn whichever way you want it to go and let it pull it out of the road. Let's just see if it's on mulch. I don't know. Yeah, but at least it got out of the road. There's just a whole lot of back and forth, but it won't grab, so there's your reality check of the day. Let's see if we can get this top pulled out of the way here. Got to hold that one pretty good. Let's see if we can pull this one to me. Yep. Coming to me. It's not a bad idea to swing around and mulch behind you too. Just because of sorry, I had to concentrate for a second. Because it'll fill in those tracks with material and help with erosion prevention. Come on, mulch for me. Now I could absolutely pick up this stuff if I want to just jam that head down into the dirt. I don't want that dirt and grit getting into my berries. I don't care how well sealed they are eventually. It's going to get in there. To some degree. Doesn't have to be a lot, but to some degree. And to some degree is enough to do a little damage. Now then. Now one thing you can do if you're just wanting to cut these loose is just get that head mildly spooled up and it'll sling stuff away from you. So let me show you a good example. everything it had to that head, and it molts better than this thing is right now. That sucker would eat. And when I got this head, it was a little bit disappointing. That's aggravating when you're told one thing and it's going to cut good, it's going to cut this inch, that. Then you get the thing and it's like, well, we're having problems getting it dialed in or whatever, you know. It wasn't my dealer's fault. They were going based on what they were told. The only thing about Fecon too, it took us forever to get this head in. Right now, Brushmaster's out like 4 to 6 weeks, I think. So I'm cool with that. It's aggravating when you're coming up to the end of the year and you're looking to buy one of these and you need the write-off. You have to have it in your possession for it to be a write-off. I don't think technically you're supposed to be able to just pay for it ahead of time. I think you have to have it in your possession. That's what I was told. I'm gonna wait until I get past these tops. Also the operator factor. There are probably people out there that can operate this thing a heck of a lot better than me. So you guys drop in the comments, tell us your experiences, and tell us if you recommend Fecon or some of the other companies. When it comes down to it, you know, design works. Now I think some of the bigger machines have like a 2-speed head, which would be awesome. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video helps somebody. Hopefully it brings some reality to forestry mulching and what you're going to get out of one of these heads. And hopefully you'll consider subscribing. We do videos on excavation, grading, demolition, dump truck work. And we're out here just trying to make it easier on those guys who are trying to get their start. So thank you guys for the support, supporting my channel. We love you. We'll see you on the next video. Also, if you want to watch some more of this mulching head work and me just not talking, go over to Digging Life Deeper. It's my other channel, and I'm going to try to start putting up some videos that aren't necessarily narrated or edited. They'll just be totally raw footage, just for some extra viewing pleasure. Hopefully it's your pleasure, you know. If not, you probably won't watch it. Thanks for joining me, guys. See you over at Digging Life Deeper.